September the 8th, 2023. Guys, it is 7:27 a.m. here in central Mississippi this morning, and you're looking at Hurricane Lee, which is now a Cat 5. You can see it recycling through that eye. And right to the left of your image here, you can see the Leeward Islands, kind of the gateway to the Caribbean, as I call them. But you got a Cat 5 storm. It's supposed to continue westward, and it looks like it's going to get near the Bermudas and then turn hard north. And guys, it would be better for a Cat 5 not to make land anywhere. That would be the best case scenario. But I'm afraid our friends in the northeast may catch this storm. We're going to take a look at that. Now, looking at the wide Atlantic, guys, here's your storm. Here's the Caribbean. And you've got a second storm right here behind it that it more than likely will become a very strong Hurricane 2. It's supposed to kind of follow Lee and move up parallel with it up the east coast. And you've got some storms, you guys, over in Arkansas. And for the first time in months, we got like maybe 30 minutes of rain going between light and heavy, but it at least knocked the dust down and cooled the temperatures. I just want to point out something here coming off the coast of Georgia. We've seen these before, if you guys remember. They'll start spinning up in this area. I think we tracked one from Tennessee 2 years ago, got out into the Gulf and became a tropical storm. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But right now, Lee is going to be a major problem, it looks like, from the new models for the Northeast. This is the current modeling as far as the cone, and we got a Cat 5 here at 150 or 65 miles per hour. 156 above is a Cat 5. So this one is well defined. We're going to remain a Cat 5. It's saying all the way until about Monday at 2 a.m. and slowing down to a Cat 4. Not sure if it's cooler water there or what may be the reason for this thing going down to a Cat 4. It just may not be able to maintain this 165 mile per hour wind. Now, we did see a storm come into the Bermudas, guys, a few years ago. It sat there as a Cat 5 for a few days with peaks at 200 miles an hour. Remember that? I think it was on the large northern Bermuda Island there. But this thing is, it was 5 o'clock advisory this morning. It's moving west-northwest at 14 miles per hour, 926 millibars of pressure. All the models are starting to come together in about the same place. And notice what a hard left some of these models are showing here. The UKM is not, it's kind of a slanted model, but the Navy model is here, and the CMC model is the furthest to the right. So we have the two models that I watch the most on either side of the cone. Now, when we look at the forward models on this thing, you'll see how close they cross when we get up north. Now, this Cat 5 is being watch very closely. We've got a hurricane hunter that's left out of the northern Leeward Islands, guys, and is here, headed on its way to do some drop sounding around Lee, and that's what you're dealing with right there. It's hard to see. It's kind of dark. There's your aircraft there. So they're not going to let this one just slide in anywhere. They're going to keep an eye on it probably until it makes landfall or moves out into the North Atlantic. Now, first, let's look at the Canadian model. It's the one that is the furthest left on the spaghetti models we just looked at. Here's Lee. Going to make that hard turn. You've got, New Hampshire, Maine, and Massachusetts under the gun right here. Watch this again. We'll stop it on that date. Coming very close to the Bahamas right there. That's on the 13th. Heading north right here. Very close to the Nantucket area of Massachusetts. Move it forward. There's a September 16th, very big storm coming in right there. What is that, guys? You got Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and then Maine. And the storm is kind of touching all three of those states, and maybe even a little further north. Again, September 16th. Coming ashore right there, man. It's right on top of you guys by this point. We know the tracks will shift, but right now, guys, they're shifting to the left and not back out into the Atlantic. For the last few days, you couldn't really tell, were they going to skirt up between the East Coast and Bermuda? But right now, they're starting to come together. Again, this was the Canadian model, It is the furthest left on the model. So let's just let this thing play through, going up, coming back out into the Atlantic. Storm here at that point. Let it go all the way through. Slows down, makes that turn right above the Bahamas. Bam, right there. Again, it would be better if this storm did not hit land, but you guys in the Northeast, you cannot let your guard down at all. You're just a little over a week away from impact if this continues as far as the spaghetti models and these forward-looking models. Let's take a look at the Navy one. Basically the same thing, but again, this one is on the right side of the cone, or the northern side, and here we go, turns hard north. Right here, guys, it scrapes on the bad side of the storm, Bermuda. And then this model does not go out as far as the Canadian model. It stops right there on the 15th. And it's still headed due north at that point. Let's play it all the way through. That's the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. And there we are. So just like I've said before in the past, when these two models get very close together, you've got a very good idea of where you're going to make landfall at. If this thing makes landfall, guys, there's going to be a tremendous amount of flooding all along the northeastern coast, possibly from New York and up further, because the storm's spinning counterclockwise. And here is Long Island, New York, right in this area. All of this is going to be involved in some very high winds, flooding from the ocean, depending on when your high and low tides are, and the wind, power outages, tornadoes, the whole 9 yards. This one may be a wake-up call for the entire hurricane season of 2023. Now, even on the 15th, it looks like a very powerful storm. They're anticipating it to be back down to a Cat 4 hurricane, and that's very powerful indeed. That's what we saw come across Florida just a week or two ago. But guys, we will do the updates as the information comes in. It's time to pay very careful attention to this. It's a heads up. Be safe.